Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic, Stockholm Syndrome can lead to mental and psychological issues. Stockholm Syndrome can lead to mental and psychological issues. Now, before we get into the crux of this video, first, let's define what Stockholm Syndrome is. Well, basically, it is a psychological disorder to where someone who's being held hostage ends up defending the hostage holder. That's like the slave who's been beaten and tormented and raped, defending the master. Those two incidents have happened. Now, where did Stockholm Syndrome originate? It originated in Stockholm, Sweden. Happened in 1973, where two gunmen carrying machine guns went to a Stockholm, Sweden bank and held 4 employees, 3 women and 1 man hostage for a period of days. And at the end of that traumatic event, the 4 employees who were hostages ended up defending the hostage takers. That's what happens during Stockholm Syndrome. Of course, some high-profile cases. A year later, Patty Hearst, she was 19 years old in 1974. She was taken hostage and brainwashed. Now, she had to serve 7 years in jail, but was released after 3. Then you had Elizabeth Smart. And the list goes on and on. Mary McElroy was another one. She was the daughter of a politician. She ended up killing herself in 1940. Now, with all that being said, what about an abusive relationship? Because you have an individual who is the aggressor, and then you have the aggressee, the one who's taking all the abuse. Well, the problem is the aggressee is trying to play into the emotions of the aggressor. See, what people don't understand when it comes to an abusive relationship is, what about the aggressor? Well, the aggressor has control issues that lead to anger and emotional issues. And at a moment's notice, that aggressor could snap and not only take out the aggressee, but himself or herself. And that generally happens because the rule of thumb when it comes to the aggressor, what is in that person's mind is, if I can't have you, no one can have you. And you can see some of the swirlers as well when it comes to this interracial dating. Well, a number of them actually think the grass is greener on the other side. It is not greener on the other side, but they have perceived that it is, based off the actions that they've seen from African American males, to whom a number of them raised. But when the African American male, with his dysfunctional self, wasn't able to be handled because he was raised by her, which she was a single mom and probably didn't have any teaching when it came to raising children herself, she decided, I'm going to go over here to where I'm going to be a little safer and I'm going to have a little bit more security. Well, that works for a small percentage of them. But nonetheless, that person that she's going over to see or be with, for the most part, is a Caucasian male. And the Caucasian male was the biggest brute during slavery times. He not only raped her, beat her, raped the children, took children, raped the men, everything. But at the end of the day, she believes in him. The same thing that went when a Donald Trump supporter, to whom was black, in Chicago, he was assaulted. Went to court, he forgave that Caucasian male. That's a version of Stockholm Syndrome. The Caucasian man was wrong for assaulting him, but he forgave her. That's right. Same thing that happened not only in Chicago, but in Georgia, when this couple went around calling African Americans names, and they had their Confederate flag, their pickup truck. Now, I believe they were arrested. They had a court date. And there were two African American women. And what happened? They were forgiven. That couple was forgiven. Same with Dylan Roof. See, that's what Stockholm Syndrome does. It basically breaks down the victim. And when that happens, that victim ends up loving the aggressor or defending the aggressor. Now, with Stockholm Syndrome, the diseases that come from Stockholm Syndrome are, you have narcissism, which narcissism, it's a disease, but it's not classified as a mental health issue. It is a disease because narcissism means person's self-centered, all about themselves. And narcissism develops sociopathic people, no remorse. But also with Stockholm Syndrome, I guarantee, when they captured, like Elizabeth Smart, she didn't go through trauma. I guarantee she was raped. Well, that's a crime. And going through days and even years. I'm talking about the 3 girls that were in Cleveland. They were raped. So with all being said in this video, I've just proven to you that Stockholm Syndrome does lead to other disorders. And these disorders are very serious. Going back to the relationship, the aggressor. Well, if the aggressee caters to the aggressor's feelings, well, that person who's aggressive, you're going to hear a little calmness in his voice. But the minute something goes wrong and she, according to him, steps out of line, that's when you're going to get the anger. And this is what can happen. Could be a murder, suicide. Again, I had to bring that back into play because individuals don't understand that you see the most Stockholm Syndrome in abusive relationships. Because the old adage again is, if I can't have her or him, no one can. But Stockholm Syndrome is real. It could form any mental, psychological issue because the object, again, is to break down the opponent so they could defend the person who's holding them hostage. This is a serious effect. Again, with Stockholm Syndrome, some of the beliefs are delusional. Like thinking that one's race is better than the other because of what they got, not because of who they are. And that's what you see again during the swirling movement. And swirling, believe it or not, happens both ways. And there's nothing wrong with interracial dating. Now, this video is not about interracial dating. What I am simply doing is utilizing examples. And then I'm connecting the dots for you as my audience so you can see what kind of mental and psychological issues come from Stockholm Syndrome. That's all this video is. It's to give you an understanding of the different mental disorders connecting from one series of events or one series of issues to another. That's what's happened in all of the videos that I produced. So, again, Stockholm Syndrome can lead to bipolarism, borderline personality disorders, narcissism, schizophrenia, anger, and a few others. Now, there's basically no other way to control this kind of, I don't want to call it a disease, but it's a trigger mechanism to diseases. Because when you look at Stockholm Syndrome, also life-saving instincts are coming out as well, because when you are in any situation, you want to make sure that your life is spared, although it doesn't happen sometimes. But the biggest mental disorder that you're going to go through is PTSD, because you're seeing all kinds of trauma go on as being held hostage persist. I mean, there's going to be a rape in there. There may be even somebody who got captured just like you. You might see them get killed. There's going to be the physical, verbal abuse. There's going to be insecurity issues, emotional issues, anger issues associated with this disease. And if you're not careful, you can be a victim. And this is why, for you women, if you're going to go dating, meet in a public place. Same with guys. Talk on the phone first, because you want to make sure the person you are talking to is stable. Because your life is always going to be in jeopardy, particularly if you are a woman, because men are stronger than women. So be careful who you're meeting online, particularly Craigslist. Also, make sure that you know your surroundings. Be conscious. Don't go out after a certain time. Don't go in certain areas that you are not familiar with, because you're likely to be a victim. The best thing I can tell you, be smart. It will save your life and others. Like I said, Stockholm Syndrome does lead to other mental issues. I just want to point out in this video a brief overview of where these issues persist and why these behaviors persist. Because again, jealousy and control, when it comes to a relationship, and insecurity, they will definitely lead to the borderline personality disorders and anger issues. But again, to sum it up, Stockholm Syndrome is where the aggressor takes the hostage, breaks the hostage down, and then the hostage ends up defending the aggressor. That's the definition of Stockholm Syndrome. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Friday, May 5th, 2017. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Tomorrow's show, I'm going to talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So if you want to get in on the call, guest calling number is 215-383-5785. And if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional, mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in any type of debating, controversy, or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. It's counterproductive. This channel is for educational purposes only, and my job is to give you the information so you can understand how the real world works, because knowledge is power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. Make sure that your comments are pithy, no bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.